I just got my shipment of new comic books for the month of September. Check it out. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and this is Northgarden Comics. If you've been watching any of my videos from the last few weeks, you know that I have been working through a pretty good-sized haul of back issues that I picked up at a sidewalk sale here in the Twin Cities, held by a local shop, where they were essentially liquidating a bunch of back issues and selling everything at 25 cents a piece. Well, we're going to take a break from that today, and we'll come back to it next time. But today I want to show you some new books that I just got, because I just received my most recent shipment of new comics from Dcbs. That is it's an online service that I use to pre-order my new books about 2 months ahead of when they come out. So the books I'm going to show you today are September releases, but I ordered them back in July. And I like to show you the new books, and I also like to share a little bit about how a service like Dcbs works, in case you have ever considered using something like that for your own collecting of new comics. If you like this kind of content, please take just a second and hit that subscribe button. And if you see something in the video that you like, give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment down below. Love to be able to connect with other people who just share a love for reading and collecting comic books. Now, that being said, let's spin things around, and I'll show you first the box and kind of the unpacking experience from this shipment from Dcbs. I will say, as we open the box here, it's a nice secure box, and that's a pretty big brick that I get, because I get once a month standard shipping, which is a flat rate of $7.50. You can opt for more frequent shipments, even weekly, but you will pay additional shipping charges. So once a month is the most economical. And you can see they're securely packed with that foam that goes in there like a liquid and then dries in shape around your book, so they're not going to move anywhere. And then you got a nice solid block of books stacked together, some extra boards, and then wrapped nice and tight. And then, whoops, spoiler alert, I got the previews catalog this month. That's the first time I've ever picked that up. Okay, now I've got the books out of the box, and I took them out of that bag that they were in. It's essentially just a giant bag like this, so everything is nice and tightly secured in that bag, and they'll usually have 1 or 2 extra backing boards that are in there to give it some extra rigidity in its shipping. So never an issue with safe, secure arrival of my books. And starting at the top here, I got the Marvel free previews. This is the one October for December 2020 shipping product. I'm always sure to add this to my order. You can get this for free in local shops as well, but I don't always get to the local shops, at least not with any kind of consistency or regularity. And to keep me from, risking missing out on this, I throw one of those in my shopping cart. And that just goes through all the Marvel specific books, omnibus, figures, things like that they're going to be releasing. Something else that I put in my order this time that I've never ordered before, and I did just for fun, is the full-sized previews catalog, and it's pretty thick. It's just basically on almost like a, it's not quite newspaper print, but it's this newspapery kind of print. And I gotta tell you, just from the sheer idea of this, I love it, because going back to even when I was a kid, I loved getting catalogs filled with images of products that I like. Maybe that was a toy catalog from Toys R Us or something. It doesn't even matter if it was toys or not, just things that you like. I love seeing them in catalog format. And what this will do is, this takes you through, again, this is the October 2020 previews, and it is going to show you everything that's going to be in shops in December 2020. And I think it's pretty comprehensive. If you see the side here, all those different colors, what it goes through is all of the different publishers coded by color, so you can see everything that they're coming out with. And so there's Image Comics, and then it goes through, and you got Dark Horse there, and then here's IDW. And I will say that there's no DC and there's no Marvel contained in this previews, because they have their own separate dedicated previews catalog. And it goes through, like I said, all these different independent publishers, so it just lets you know what's going to be coming out. And maybe I want to add those to my order. Maybe I want to keep my eye out for those in local shops. But beyond comic books even, if you flip over the book, so there's the front cover. If you flip it over, there's a cover on the back, and it's upside down here, and it'll actually go through here, toys, Diamond Select toys, Hero Collector, toys, statues, models. I'm just reading the index here. Import toys, statues and models. And then we've got collectibles and novelties, games and puzzles, trading cards. So it's pretty comprehensive for the comic and comic related industry. The cover price on this I think is $3.99. Yeah, like a comic book, but when I pre-order it through Dcbs, it's only 99 cents. So I thought that was just a fun thing to add to my cart. I don't know if I'll do that every month. I may do it for a few, and we'll see, but just kind of a fun little addition to the monthly order. All right, now to the actual books themselves. First up here, I'm a huge X-Men fan, and X-Men are starting this multi-part crossover event called 10 of Swords, and in addition to the event taking place within several of the X-Men titles, it's also going to have a few standalone issues that represent that serve as like anchors in the story. So kind of this first part one is this 10 of Swords creation, and it's part 1 of 22. So I got to admit I have mixed feelings about a 22-part crossover story, especially as the completionist in me wants to be able to read all of it. But this is a cover, I believe it's Russell Dauterman who did the variant. One note to keep in mind about not just DCBS, but any kind of pre-ordering. Most of the time, of course, you'll see all of the standard covers for individual issues that are coming out. That's not always the case with variants. Sometimes you'll see the cover for a variant if the publisher has released that image, but in many cases, or at least in some, they don't release that image, and so all you'll get is what type of variant it is or the artist's name, and then you have to kind of, place your bets and see, do you want to go with the standard cover? Do you really want to go with the variant when you don't know what it looks like? So it's a little bit of a gamble, and this is one of those examples. I did not know what this looked like. I just knew who the artist was, and I'm not a huge variant collector. In fact, if I'm honest, I would prefer, for simplicity's sake, I'd be happy if there were no variants at all. If it were just the standard cover, not because I'm terribly anti-variant, but just from a choice perspective, it's easier for me if you just tell me this is the cover and that's it. Maybe I like the cover, maybe I don't, but it is what it is. But when you give me lots of choices, that's when it becomes a lot harder. And then I'll wrestle with, do I want this one or do I want that one? And when I don't see the covers, how will I know which one's going to be good? Is one of them going to be more popular? Is one of them going to be fantastic and one going to be kind of meh? So it's just a little bit of a gamble there, but that's enough rambling about variants. You kind of got to just look and make your choice and do what's right for you there. Next up here, this is the first issue in a limited series called Juggernaut. I like Juggernaut, but I bought this primarily because the artist is Ron Garney, and I like his style a lot. I got issue 1. I don't know that I've pre-ordered any of the other issues yet, because at this point, I've already placed my order for at least October and November. I may or may not have gotten issues 2 and 3. This might be an example where I get number 1, see what it's like, and then I wait. And if I want to go back at some point in my local shop and get those other issues, I will. And you know what? With things like this, honestly, there's a good chance they could wind up in a discount bin at some point down the road, so maybe I piece it together that way. All right, some of the covers you're going to see today are from a themed variant for the month, or for a couple months here. Alex Ross did a bunch of what they're calling the timeless variants, and many of you have probably seen these already, but like I said, I only get 1 shipment a month, so these are all my September books. And so here's my Alex Ross timeless variant to Sensational She-Hulk, and this is another example. That's a fine cover. I don't have any complaints about that, but there was another cover that I didn't see ahead of time, and I've now seen people post and share that they got, and it has Jen Walters in the front in human form, and then the She-Hulk persona behind that, and I think that's a really cool cover. I don't recall who the artist is, and I don't recall what the cover price was, because with variants, sometimes you can get them for the same cover price or the same discounted price through a pre-order service as the standard cover, and it's usually like 40% off, something like that. But sometimes with the variants, when they're more limited, you're going to have to, pay up to begin with. And I don't know if that was one where it was a higher price tag to begin with. And maybe that probably would have prevented me right out of the gate, because half the reason at least that I do a pre-order service is because of the great discount I can get, and it just lets me stretch my comic book dollar a little bit further. All right, next up, Daredevil number 22. This is an ongoing series that I am loving right now. Chichetto's art is fantastic, and Chip Zdarsky on the writing has been doing a fantastic job, so I love that. Here's a limited series that I probably, in hindsight now, didn't need to get. I got it at first because it had J.J. Abrams at the helm for writing, Sarah Pacelli doing the art, and I'm not complaining about either of those credits, but you never know sometimes if a book is going to be really hot or not ahead of time, and so I thought, ooh, this might be hot, maybe I should make sure I pre-order it so I have copies. If I wait till it comes out, maybe I won't be able to get one, things like that, but I've already seen the first 3 issues of this in dollar bins since then, and number 4 has been so delayed because of COVID and things like that, and I'm not even sure when 5 is coming out, but eventually I'll have all 5, and I'll read them all. Here we have Hellions number 4, just the next issue in one of the X-Men ongoings that I'm reading. Here's another Alex Ross Timeless variant, Iron Man, and I don't know, this might be, okay, this is Iron Man. This is Iron Man number 1. So this is the next volume of the Iron Man ongoing title. So that's that number 1. And that's a cool looking cover. Here's another Alex Ross Timeless variant. This is Storm. And she appears on the cover of, oh, this is giant size X-Men Storm. So it's a one-shot. That's a great cover. You'll also see that these all come bagged and boarded. You can, with DCBS, you can opt to pay for no bag and board, and of course that's free. And I've never done that, but I'm pretty confident that everything would still come very securely wrapped, so I wouldn't need to protect them that way. But you can pay a small fee to get a basic cheap poly bag and, you know, coated board for like 12 cents a comic. I do one step above that, which is like 30 cents a comic, and this is a My Light Plus bag and then a half back board. The My Light Plus is a little bit thinner. The most popular My Light bag is like a My Light 2. This is just a step thinner than that. I'm not worried about the thinness of this because behind me here, most of my books live 99.9% of their lives in a short box, and so this thickness of a bag does just fine. But I get this because it's, you know, such an easy, cheap way for me to get Mylar. And then what I'll actually do in the long run, and I'm planning to do a video coming up here soon about bags and boards, and just to talk about how to make your dollar stretch farther. But here's Storm on one side, and then I'll put another book on the back. So it just, now that Mylar bag and board that cost me 30 cents, now for 2 books, it only cost me 15 cents a book. So anyway, there'll be another video about that at some point here. Next up, here's Excalibur, X-Men title, number 12. And this is, yeah, 10 of Swords Prelude, so it's leading up to the event. Another ongoing I'm collecting, Thor. This is number 7. All right, X-Men number 12, part of the ongoing. Lionel Yu doing a lot of these standard covers here, and interior art still. And that's, I think, the only title, so it's the flagship X-Men title, and it's the only one that Jonathan Hickman is actually writing anymore. He was also writing New Mutants in it when it first started, but I think he's down to just the X-Men title. And I'm guessing he's offering some kind of editorial guidance to the overall arcs of the stories and where they go. Here's another variant that I got. I'm not collecting this ongoing. I'll just show it to you while I talk to you about it. This is Batman Superman number 12. This is Lee Weeks is the artist on this, and I just liked the variant cover. I have no idea what the story is in this volume right now. Like I said, it's 12 issues in, but yeah, that was a cover by there. Here's another Alex Ross Timeless variant. I think there are like 30 of these altogether. I will not have all 30 of them. This is, yeah, Strange Academy number 3. I got Strange Academy number 1, but not number 2, and I only picked this up because I wanted the cover. And then here we have, I think this might be Avengers, but this is Timeless variant Ghost Rider. Yep, and that's Avengers 36. Here's X Factor number 4, and this is getting into that 10 of Swords event. This is part 2 of 22. This is Transformers Galaxies. It's kind of a companion title to the ongoing Transformers by IDW. Here is the ongoing Transformers number 23, Rise of the Decepticons. These are all stories that take place leading up to the Great War that, you know, we Gen Xers are familiar with from the 80s cartoon and all of the reboots of it since then. You know, Empire, I haven't read Empire yet, but I'm still getting the books for it. This is Empire Aftermath, and this is another variant edition. This is Terry Dodson. I had not seen this cover prior to buying it. It may have solicited, like, you know, told me it was Terry Dodson and may have mentioned something about She-Hulk. But yeah, so I grabbed that one as a variant. And then here is Transformers Galaxies number 9. Sometimes you'll see multiple titles in a volume because more than one issue came out in a month, but with this case, there's only one a month coming out. We're still seeing some of the COVID impact and the delays that it hit all throughout spring and summer on the industry, and so we're still playing a little bit of catch up there from some previous orders. And then here is X-Force number 12, and this is Path to 10 of Swords. And I haven't decided yet. As much as I love the X-Men, I haven't decided yet whether or not I'm going to continue with all of the X-Men titles post the 10 of Swords event. There are some titles I definitely prefer over others, and I got to decide, is there something different I'd rather collect? Here's one that I got just kind of random. This is Captain Marvel number 21. I had gotten issue, what was it, 18, where it was the first appearance of her sister. The story was fine, and I think this kind of it's kind of rounding out that story. I wasn't sure at the time if I would keep with it, but you know, I didn't get the others, but I got this one. This was called a spoiler variant, and I wouldn't have even gotten it based on that, but I did see that the solicitation said that Chris Bachalo was doing the cover, so I really enjoy his art, and so I figured, what the heck, I'll round out the story, and I'll get the Chris Bachalo cover. And then the last book to show you, here's another X-Men book. This is Wolverine number 4. All right, that's going to do it for me, and that's going to wrap up all the new books I got for the month of September. I hope you saw something that you liked. Again, if you're new to the channel and you like this kind of content, take a second, hit that subscribe. If you saw something you liked, hit the like button or leave me a comment down below. If you want to go see some back issue hunting, I've got some videos here where you can see some of those 25-cent books I picked up at the sidewalk sale. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.